Hello and welcome to a vlog that is not really a vlog at all. It's more of an appendix to the last one, which, as you may recall, was all about the different types of toilets that you can get on a narrowboat. So today's not a vlog is about how to refurbish your Thetford cassette. I'll come to that in just a moment, but first of all, very briefly, some things that were raised by that last vlog. First of all, various commentators pointed out that I'd entirely neglected to mention the various chemicals you can put in your cassette toilet or pump out to both minimise the smell and also help to break up the solids to make for a more simple and easy flushing out experience. And these chemicals are generally known as blue, although there is also a version called green because it's more eco-friendly, and you just put a dollop of those in every time you've emptied the cassette and it helps to break down all the matter that then goes into it. There is also some suggestion on the various forums, both the narrowboating forums and camper forums and anyone that uses these type of toilets, that instead of paying lots of money for formal chemicals like blue and whatever, you can simply stick in a dollop of bio washing liquid. I have tried that and it is certainly much better than not putting anything in the cassette at all. What I haven't done is a comparison between washing liquid and blue, so maybe that'll be the subject of a future vlog, because you can never have too many vlogs where you're talking about poo. Another thing that got mentioned is how do ladies dispose of their feminine hygiene products, because you can't really put them in the cassette or the pump out. They will jam up the pipes and won't really flush out. Well, those simply have to be bagged up and put in the waste, apparently. And the final point that came out of that last vlog was I had a couple of very angry viewers who were incensed at the notion that Alan, the bloke with the composting toilet, he mentioned you could put your human poo compost into your home compost bin, and these people were very annoyed about that, said no, don't do that, it's terrifically dangerous, human poo is full of all sorts of bacteria. And then a couple of other people said, yes, but it's okay if you make sure all the bacteria are properly heat treated and killed. I did a very brief Google search on this and there does seem to be divided opinion, so on that subject I would only say do your own research, make your own mind up, don't simply act on a line you happen to see on a YouTube video. I think that's sensible advice for all of life, really. Anyway, to the subject of this video, which is refurbing your Thetford toilet cassette. This is a brand new unused cassette. It's one of my spares and I bought it just to have it on board in case I ever get stuck somewhere where I can't empty the cassette. New, they cost around, well, at least £100 thereabouts. So they are very expensive for what is essentially a large plastic box. But over time, these vents and this switch and the main seal under here and the seal under here, they eventually start to fade a bit. They're only plastic or rubberized or something. And you will notice perhaps a little nasty niff coming off your cassette, or worst case, when you pick it up to take it to the LSAN point, possibly even a little dribble, which is not something anybody wants. So rather than spend £100 on a whole new cassette, what you can do is buy the individual bits, and then if you are prepared to strap on your marigolds and get in there, you can refurb your toilet cassette. And that's what this video is all about. It's how I refurbed my two cassettes that came with the boat. This was filmed a long time ago. I don't profess to be an expert, but this is simply how I did it. So sit back, get a cup of tea and enjoy.
The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure it's empty. This job is going to be disgusting enough without trying to work around a tank that's full of, you know, stuff. So empty it out, give it a good rinse. It will still be a disgusting job, but do the best you can to clean it out. Now next, you're going to take the marigolds, because you do not want to be putting your hands into this thing, let me tell you. It's already got a bit of a whiff about it. Let me point out what it is we're actually going to be changing. That's a vent that you press when you are emptying the cassette, because the emptying comes out this way. You press that, it lets air in and lets all the stuff flow out without glugging and splashing back as you're doing it. Do not, by the way, if you're ever emptying one of these, press that until you are emptying the tank, because all you're doing by pressing that is making a little hole. So if you're holding the tank upright, stuff will come out. You do not want this. That is a blade control. It's the bit that opens and closes the little, well, blade, I suppose, that seals where all your stuff goes. That is a vent. not sure what it does, but it's some kind of vent. And then under here you will see is the hole where all your stuff goes, and there is this seal. That is the easiest part to replace. This is the most difficult because you have to get your hand really in and fiddling about to replace a bracket underneath, but I will show you that in a second. So make sure you've got all the bits. You may also want some of this and rags and cloths and all that kind of stuff. In fact, I'm going to take a bit of that just to start with to put things on as I take them out. So let's start then, and it's easier, I find, if you take at least that and that out, because with this one out you can see what you're doing with this one a bit better, but we'll come to that in a second. So this just slides out, that's fair enough. Now you're going to need a flat bladed screwdriver, and these just lever off, nothing complicated there. Say that. Come on, in you go. There we go. They're just held by a sort of friction. And as you can see, you've got 8 screws underneath, cross-headed screws, so you will need a cross-headed screwdriver. And take all of these out. They're all the same screws, it seems, so you don't have to remember which one went where. Now I can see there is a little bit of water just in there. I wonder if I can get rid of that by jiggling that a bit. That'll do. Focus yourself for a second. I'll just do this. Okay, do that. Right, with the screws out, this part now just lifts off, and underneath that you can see your lip seal, which again just lifts off. Actually, this doesn't look in bad condition, but you often find with seals they look fine, but actually they're not quite working. So we'll replace this one anyway. A bit more paper, I think. Pop it down there. Right, now then we need to get everything else off. So open that, and this is where it gets truly gross. I'm going to turn the cartridge around. This is actually 2 parts. You've got the bit you can see, which is the handle, and then underneath there is a little white plastic bracket that has to come off. But this is a 2-stage operation. Firstly, you squeeze the prongs underneath this to release that, and then you have to get the bracket off, or it might be the other way around. Let's have a look. Here we go. Now that you're doing this all by feel, and it is not easy. Let me see if I can see what I'm doing. There's the bracket. Now I need to squeeze that, so there we go. Here comes the white bracket. There's the bracket. It's in that sort of position underneath, and you can see it's got these little hooks on either side that just squish on to the main bit of the blade, and this circular bit sits in between the blades of the knob. It'll make more sense when I show you the new one in a second. Now, holding the blade upwards so that it doesn't drop backwards into the tank, you can now squeeze the ends of that, and hopefully up it comes. There we go. And hopefully that makes sense. You see those 2 ends were squeezed in there, and the other white bit sat in the middle of them. And it's this seal that perishes. Again, you can't really tell by looking. It's worth replacing. Now, I'm not going to let go of this because I don't want to drop it back down, so I need to reach for the new part, which of course I've put as far away from me as I possibly could. Here it is. Yeah, it's going to have to get icky. There's nothing else for it. That's that bit, and that's that bit. So, new blade just goes... Oh wait, there is something I forgot to do. It's a good idea to just give this a little bit of a clean. Now, despite what I just said about not letting go of this, I'm going to have to gently let it down. I don't want it falling off its mount. There we go, let's have a bit of tissue. Just get in there. This should make the seal make a better seal if you give it a bit of a clean, I guess. There we go, that'll do. Right, now pick that back up again. Oh, tits. Now you see that has fallen out of its mounting. That is bad news. I think I've got it back in. Let's have a look. Yep, that's back in. Good. So, pop that in. Now the trick with this, I discovered on the other cassette that I've already done, is make sure this is properly, fully back in. Because if it's even slightly raised, you won't be able to get this bit back in, because this circular bit won't fit in underneath. I think that is in. Good. That should now be holding that now. This is all. You've got to get that white circle up between the blades and... Oh, hello, I think I'm in. As the actress said to the bishop. No, other way around. Right, I think that's on. And I can shut that and it shuts and it opens. It doesn't look like a terrific seal, does it? But there is the other seal part to go on to that. Right, let's do this valve. This is very easy. Turn through, I think it's about 45 degrees. Or, ooh, yes, you can feel it wiggles slightly when you reach that point. And then it just pulls out. I did say earlier, take that out first, didn't I? So you can see what you're doing. You can check what you're doing. I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but you can look in there. Might be an idea to have a torch handy, but you can just check that you've got the bracket clipped fully back on, which I have. Now the new one of those, it's worth pointing out, will only go back in one way. These little protrusions on the side, two of them are one size and one of them is another size, and it will only go back in that way, and then you just turn it again. That's that one done. Now again, you need to get your hands dirty getting this out, but this is fairly straightforward. When you pry this off with a screwdriver, it comes off and the bits underneath just fall away, so you have to be ready to catch them, unless you want to go ferreting around for them in all the last bits of muck that are still in the bottom. So pry this off, and there's the button and spring, and out from underneath comes the little valvey bit, and then refitting is the reverse of that operation. You need the new button with a spring on it. The little valve goes in that way, just hold it in place. Come on, there we go. You can see when it's in place because two little protrusions stick up through that hole. And you just turn that upside down, press that down against the bit you're holding inside. Yep, and you can tell it just clicks into place. There we go. Obviously I am going to give everything a wipe over later. Final bit to do then is this lip seal. Here it is, and it's got a bottom bit and a top bit. Now this needs spraying with the Thetford lubricant, which I'm supposed to give a good shake to. Don't know why, but I will. There we go. Okay, I think I'll shut that just for the purposes of this exercise. Okay, I don't know how much of this needs, but give it a good lube. I have seen someone on another YouTube video suggesting you use Vaseline, but Thetford themselves, they don't use Vaseline. I think it's because Vaseline is a petroleum petroleum-based product, and certain plastics don't like petrol, I don't think, so that's probably why they don't recommend it. The Thetford Seal lubricant is actually just some kind of silicone grease, I think, so I imagine, don't hold me to this, but I imagine any kind of silicone grease would do. So that's been liberally sprayed, just drops into place there, and now you're ready to reassemble. So tell you what I might just do, actually, same as I did with the other one, give it a bit of a wipe. Yeah, that will do. I don't know if that makes any difference really. Okay, that is on. That is on. And time to screw the screws in. Now I don't want to get all this yick on my screwdriver, so I'm going to take these off. Whatever you do, have this shut when you're doing this, lest you lose the screws down the hole. And yes, this is still a bit icky using my bare hands, but trying to screw things back in marigolds I just find a bit awkward. So I will simply make sure to touch it as little as possible and give my hands a damn good wash afterwards. These bits go back on, just press on as they did before. Is that on? Yep, that yellow thing always points there because it lines up with another yellow arrow on the top slider bit. I'm just going to give this a wipe over. There's loads of lubricant sprayed on it. Let me tell you, if you Google lubricant, be prepared for some interesting suggestions, as I found out. And then finally, I'm going to have to just handle it, aren't I? That goes in like that. There you go, that is one refettled and refurbished Thetford C200 CS cassette. I think all the C200 cassettes are the same. So that's got a new spring on it. That should hopefully have a happy little action to it. You can check obviously by, yeah, looks good. That's fine, and that is fine. Right, refill it, ready for use. Go and wash my hands. Ew.
Well, that was disgusting, wasn't it? But I do hope it was useful. Any questions, drop them down below and I will do my best to answer. Speaking of questions, I'm planning that the next vlog should be a Q&A. So if you have any boaty questions that you'd like to submit, get in touch via Twitter or Facebook messaging, or you can email youtube@CruisingTheCut.co.uk and I will try my best to answer. I can't guarantee obviously that I know everything about any subject that anyone puts forward, but I'll certainly do my best, and if I can't, I will try and find the answer out for you. Also in that video, I will be revealing the answers to the recent quiz and also telling you who won as well. Thank you very much for watching. Cheers now. Bye bye.